Vicky! How are you?
The California Child Care Resource and Referral Network exists today because of the work of our founders. When I think of the legacy, how it all started in a yellow garage in San Francisco, and as we'll hear from our founders from Southern California, how this was it was a time where women were going back to work and there was no childcare available for them, and they saw that was a need, and they made those choices. They fought for that to happen so that there was a childcare system in California. And so I am so forever grateful to the founders, to those women who stood up for what was needed, that movement to bring us to where we are today. We have a lot of shoulders, big shoulders to stand upon to keep that work alive and moving forward today.
We were a group of women who got together, radical women, feminist women. They used to refer to us as those women who wore the hiking boots. So we were outside. We are a new organization, and we were outside of the early childhood community of Head Start, state preschool. We were outside of the Department of Social Services, which did the licensing and, oh, by the way, did referrals for childcare. Not well, but they did that. So we were outsiders. So one of the biggest challenges was finding a community in Sacramento. And that community was parents. We had referral counselors, at least 2, on 8 to 5 every day. That phone never was off the hook. Talking to parents who needed infant care, needed child care. At that time, remember, child care was in centers. And then providers started coming to us because we were a way that they could fill their programs and support their own families. So over the years, we developed relationships. And again, with the network's help, we began to develop really strong relationships with our county board of supervisors.
We were just starting to just meet the needs of the community as they would arise. And from that, we were able to talk about childcare and development with people. We had the alternative payment program, and there were actually only 3 childcare centers in the whole county at that time. Probably 2 licensed family childcare in the whole county. And so we knew them, and they knew us really well. So we would work a lot together with them. So we would get referrals from the parents. We began to just kind of reach out into the community as we grew. We became more than what we thought we were. We became everything to everyone.
We were parents. We were moms. We wanted to do something about our own communities, but we didn't realize, I think, until later, how important our advocacy efforts were and how important it was for us to make those stories told at the local and state and federal levels.
The issues were about accessibility and affordability. There was childcare and quality. There was childcare, but the mothers couldn't afford it. It wasn't necessarily available when they needed it. And it wasn't necessarily at the quality level that the children needed. So availability, affordability, quality were the issues. We quickly learned about all of the supports that were needed in addition to the referral service. And we started building all of those supports through the referral service so that parents could find childcare and childcare providers could do a better job. And so we then also needed to advocate for the appropriate support of childcare.
I insisted that the networks have standardization of their data because the yield will be on target. Your money will be used. You will understand what's going on with the clients, and people who have not had anything and things that you have never understood, both of those needs, emotional needs for success, are also met.
Because at this point, we wanted to make sure that every corner of California had resource and referral. And I remember sitting on bleachers for, I would say, 16 hours while we just hammered out every single possible thing that we could think of in terms of what we could collect. We knew that we had information about who was looking for childcare, why they were looking for childcare, what ages they needed childcare for, how much they could pay, how much they couldn't pay. And it was just all those things, and then making a definition about all of those things. What is part-time? What is full-time? And literally, it took us, I would say, at least 16 hours to agree on that. And then using that information, I think, has been the strength of the network throughout its history, to be able to use it to help fund more childcare, more R&R, and also to make the case for childcare with the larger community and how important it is.
Present-day childcare resource and referral network challenges and solutions includes how do we retain those strong relationships, those strong pieces of dedication that we hear from our founders. How do we make sure that we continue to work towards a more equitable childcare system that is available for all families and all children throughout California? How do we continue to change the world? We do that by coming together, by staying together, by sharing information and best practices, and challenging ourselves.
I think the network at its base is about people, right? And so the work that the network does is work that's shared by a network of R&Rs across the state, one in every county. The beauty of that is they're coming from the communities that they serve. The people, the individuals are coming from the communities that they serve. So connection is built into the work. I think the idea of connection and where it might struggle a bit or where we might lose sight of it is how we're coming together. What are the tools we're using when we come together? And how often are we being intentional about any missing connections or any gaps in those connections? Connectedness is important to the work that we're doing in R&Rs, in NAPs, or in any service industry, especially when it comes to human services.
I would say that I feel like we're part of a movement towards justice, and even though we're primarily under the umbrella of childcare, I think where discrimination or injustice has shown up, we have been in the forefront of a lot of that fight to make sure that that childcare is available and that people who want to make this their livelihood are able to do that, and they're not legal barriers to that.
I think it's important to have the network because it's important for the R&Rs to have someone who can speak for them. And it's important that they're there to represent us when we need it. It's important across the state that we're able to serve families consistently and be able to understand that there are challenges across the state that every family and every provider has, even though our communities might look a little bit different here and there. We are all doing this work together. And when the network is there to bring us together, it makes us stronger.
The California Child Care Resource and Referral Network is really the backbone and infrastructure that sees that all California families are served well with childcare supports. We're at a point, I think as the nation is at a point where they recognize that childcare is important for all of us and for our future, for people to go to work, to be able to attract good talent and keep them productive. We're at a point, and I think the network is in a perfect point to be able to draw in those sectors to help them understand their own workforce's needs, as well as the role they can play that ultimately helps them, and then certainly helps our economy and the nation's economy. So I think it's not, it's no longer like a woman's issue or a child care issue. It's also an economic issue.
We know what helps parents find childcare. We've been supporting childcare providers for over 40 years, and we know some of the things that childcare providers need in order to have that support and how to pull those two pieces together. If we did it in a vacuum, if we didn't do it together, then we could have childcare systems that looked different from one county to the other. And we know that families are not that stagnant. Families are moving all the time. We want people to know what a statewide system looks like and how a statewide system can support not only childcare today, but childcare in the future.
If I had anything to tell people, especially those of you that are still in the R&R world right now, is that when we started out 45 years ago, we didn't know this, but we literally changed the world. And you still continue to this day, every day, to change the world. And that's a good thing.
What our impact would be improving the lives of families and children through research, service, and advocacy. But we had no idea what that would actually look like. And we did. We have such a tremendous impact, and we have really improved hundreds of thousands of lives, but in ways we just could not possibly have imagined then, and ways we don't know now. I just know for sure that when you are diligent, when your heart is in the right place, great things will happen.
You know, the impact that we've made over the years is incredible. I mean, we built a system that wasn't there. It was a labor of love.
California Child Care Resource and Referral Network is home. It's home to the people that work there and work in the industry. It's home to the parents who are looking for care for their children. It's a home where people who want to get in the business of taking care of children can look to and feel safe in.
The California Child Care Resource and Referral Network has existed for 45 years, and we've been championing childcare for 45 years. But we're not done. Childcare always needs a champion. They need for the network to be looking at the horizon, the landscape, and being able to predict what's going to happen next. For more information about our research, about our advocacy, our policy, or our data, you can visit our website at www.rrnetwork.org. We hope to see you, and we are here to help you.